each and every one of you to tonight's five-step Digi Millionaire Roadmap training, sponsored by CRB Digi Millionaires, which is our marketing and training portal designed to help get you to Digi Millionaire status, a Bitcoin plus millionaire. So our objective tonight is to reveal to you a believable path. That's a key word, believable, not hype, hocus pocus stuff. You're tired of all the marketing stuff that, promises you all the stuff and then it just doesn't come to fruition. By the way, those of you that were a part of the ICO, that particular system, they had some technical issues that took the site down, and then they came back up today, trading at, now it's trading close to $15. If you were a part of that ICO, in your questions box, do me a favor, put H for the name of that offer, and then the number of coins you were able to get during the ICO phase. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've got a number of you got into the hundreds, which means that if you're still holding on to all or part of that position, you're up significantly. Some almost 14 times your money. Almost 14 times your money. That's not hocus pocus, ladies and gentlemen. That's real stuff. That's real stuff. So we're going to share with you a believable path to you becoming a Bitcoin, or what we like to refer to as a Digi Millionaire, leveraging our five-step Digi Millionaire roadmap. Clear off all distractions. Turn off Facebook and Skype, and put the cell phone somewhere else. You want to pay attention for the next about 75 minutes for our newbies out there. Coming up, listen, had you known, my gosh, had we known what Bitcoin would have been back in 2010 and invested just $100 into Bitcoin, according to this article written way back on May 23rd of this year, your $100 would be worth $75 million today. Your $100 would be worth $75 million today, but that's not completely accurate today. That was, your $100 would have been worth $75 million as of May 23rd. That was when Bitcoin was going for $2,200 a coin. Well, she's well above 7,000 a coin now. As a matter of fact, the other day she hit a high of, I think it was 7,600 and some change. So you would have to redo these numbers just from the past few months, and your $100, had you invested in Bitcoin and just let it ride, there would be good days and bad days, good months and bad months, good years, one bad year, only one bad year. And it really wasn't a bad year because it allowed you to accumulate some more. So it wound up being a phenomenal year. Had you known, had you understood, you'd be worth over $200 million right now. None of us would be on the webinar. I wouldn't. Woo! You might be watching a recording, but I wouldn't be on the live webinar. Oh, no. Now, I love doing these webinars, but my point is I'd be on some beach somewhere. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we've never seen anything like what we're seeing in this Digi space. All right. So what is Bitcoin for my new folks? Let's give you a little Digi basics. Bitcoin is a form of digital currency. It's held electronically. You're never going to hold a physical Bitcoin. Okay. Now you might see some props out there, but you're never going to hold a physical Bitcoin. Here's the key. No one, nobody, no government, no big company controls it. So it can't be manipulated like US dollars can be manipulated. Well, how are US dollars manipulated? Anytime they go and they just print money willy-nilly, they manipulate the money supply. And so the value of those US dollars, or if that happened to you in Australia, the value of your Australian dollars, and we know that happened a lot in China and Japan, the value of those Japanese yen reduces when you have an inflated money supply. Well, that doesn't happen with Bitcoin. There will ever only be 21 million Bitcoin, period, end of story. And right now, there's 16 million in the marketplace. So you know what you want to do? You know what I want to do? You know what we want to do? We want to get as much Bitcoin as we possibly can. If we had just gotten $100 worth of Bitcoin back in 2010. Right now, $200 million plus is what you'd be worth. All right, now, real quickly, why do merchants like Bitcoin? Why do they want to start taking Bitcoin? Because a lot of merchants are now starting to take Bitcoin, even like Amazon. Is that a clue? Well, it solves some problems that merchants have. One of the challenges with merchants is, every time someone swipes that Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, it costs the merchant, a few percentage points of that transaction. Well, Bitcoin and other alternative, or what they refer to as altcoins, that are also now being taken as tender for goods and services, have so much smaller fees, and so that saves big business, perhaps into the tens of millions of dollars a year, those that are taking Bitcoin. Now, others, another major thing that it helps offset is fraud and chargeback risk. And those tend to go hand in hand. If there is fraud, if somebody stole someone's credit card information and they bought stuff, and then the credit card holder realizes, wait a minute, I didn't make that charge, then what happens? They call in, they charge back. But the product could have already been delivered. The service could have already been delivered. All right. But the company's got to essentially pay back the money. Okay. Some companies have tens of millions, some perhaps even hundreds of millions of dollars a year in fraud / charge back risks. Well, here's the thing with digital currency. All right. Now, there's the one thing we got to be careful of. You better know where you're sending your digital currency and feel good about who you're doing business with, because there is no company for you to call and say, hey, I want my money back. All right. There's no way to get that money. Once you send it, it is sent. Okay. Now, why would you and I want to use Bitcoin and other digital currencies? Let's say that you live in the US, but maybe you're an immigrant. Maybe you're from Mexico. Maybe you're from the Dominican Republic. We see this happen all the time, right? Somebody lives in a particular country where maybe wages are higher, but home is the Philippines, and they want to send back money to family in the Philippines, as an example. Okay, do that with Western Union. Do that with MoneyGram. Do that with your bank account and see how much you're going to get charged. Yet you can do that with Bitcoin, and again, very low fees. Now, let's say that you do very well, and let's say you're in the U.S., the home of the free and the land of the brave, or land of the brave, home of the free, or I forget which one. You know my point, okay? By the way, if you are a veteran, our hats off to our veterans. As we know, we'll be celebrating Veterans Day later this week. So hats off to you, those of you that have served in some capacity in the military. All right, so let's say you want to send some money, especially if you're in the U.S. You want to send some money offshore, and you want to send maybe you've done well in your business, and you want to send $10,000 back home. Okay, try that going to the bank and see what kind of looks you're going to get. Do that 2 or 3 times and see what's going to happen. You might even get your bank, like one of my banks did, who just closed down your account with, and I still don't know why. I figure it's because we were doing some international business, all right, and we had some international wires, but they never really said. Now, the thing is, with Bitcoin, you don't have to ask anybody's permission. Can you send $100, $10, $2 worth of Bitcoin, $200,000? You don't have to ask anybody's permission. And those of us that really love freedom, love that we can send funds. It doesn't matter who you're sending it to, where you're sending it to, and you don't have to ask anybody's doggone permission. I loves my freedom. I loves my freedom. All right, so now, how do we get you on the DIGI Millionaire roadmap? They're saying that Bitcoin's price could hit $250,000 a coin. You want to be a DIGI Millionaire? Get 4 coins. $250,000 a coin by 2020 if the 7-year trend continues. Now, real quickly, you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. Full Bitcoin right now is over $7,000 a coin. Maybe you got it, maybe you don't. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. Remember, you're never going to physically hold a Bitcoin because it's all digital. But you can buy fractions of a fraction of a fraction. US dollars are denominated in pennies, 0.01. So you don't have to just do business in a dollar. You can do business in pennies or nickels or what have you. A nickel would be 0.05, 5 cents. A dime would be 0.1, 10 cents. Well, in that scenario, you've got the decimal and 2 spaces beyond the decimal, 0.01, 0.07, 0.23, 23 cents. In Bitcoin, you've got 8 decimals. I'm sorry, not 8 decimals. 8 places beyond the decimal. So you've got 0.0000000. Everett, my dear buddy from Charlotte, 1. So you can trade fractions of a 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 Bitcoin. So don't let $7,000 a coin dismay you if you don't have $7,000 for a coin. Don't let $250,000 a coin. You should get excited about that. By the way, $7,000 a coin. If Bitcoin goes to $250,000, $7,000 a coin is a, say it with me, steal. Now, who said this? Not me. Some dude named Jameson Lott, but he's not just some dude. He is really big in this Bitcoin space. Went back over the last 7 years and looked at the average daily change in the value of Bitcoin. Some days it's up, some days it's down, some days it's up really big. Some days it's down really big. But overall in 2010, the average day was 0.82% a day. I meant to have this and I forgot it. I saw this big old banner online the other day. Some bank, Citibank or something like that. Hey, give us your money, tie it up for, 2 years, 3 years, or what have you, and get a whopping like 1.09 something percent a year. And if you tie it up for longer, maybe like 5 years, you might get 1.25% a year. Look at 2013, Bitcoin was averaging 1.11% a day. Now we hear all about this if you happen to be in the U.S. or if you're maybe you come from the U.S. like me, and maybe you've left the U.S. but you still pay attention to what's going on. I love trading. I've been in the investment arena in some form or fashion since '94. In the mutual fund space, was licensed in that arena. Ultimately started trading in the stock market and the Forex market, and now in this DIGI space. You might be hearing about the stock markets at all-time highs. And if you were to look at the stock market at the trough, at the bottom, during the 2008 financial crisis, to where it is now at all-time highs, the stock market is up roughly 300% since 2008. 9 years later, up a whopping 300%. And that is whopping. That's a phenomenal return. Phenomenal. Your 401ks, your mutual fund accounts have probably done very well. If you own individual stocks over the last 9 years, you've probably done very well. That ain't got nothing to do on Bitcoin. Look, in 2013, Bitcoin itself, well over 300% in a year. Not 9. In the last 7 years, had you had $100 in Bitcoin, you'd be worth over $200 million. Now, with that being said, there's going to be people out there saying Bitcoin is a scam. There was a big old executive of JP Morgan said that Bitcoin is a hoax. It's a scam. Okay. All right. By the way, you think he maybe had some ulterior motives. By the way, Bitcoin is a disruption. Other DG assets are disruptions. They are saying that Bitcoin will do to the financial arena what the internet did to its arena. Meaning, what's a fax machine? Does anybody know? What is a fax machine? The internet basically just did away with residential phone service in many cases. Right? Because a lot of people, I've got a buddy of mine, he got rid of his residential phone service. He just has his cell phone, and he uses Skype or Facebook. He's on Facebook all the time, so anybody he wants to talk to, he just talks to them through Facebook. just has radically changed every industry there is. Hey, what happened to Sears and Roebuck? What happened to Kmart? Remember those? Those of you in the U.S. What happened to Circuit City? Remember those? Internet came along. Same thing is happening, ladies and gentlemen. So be careful when you hear people saying this stuff is a scam. You pay attention to who you be careful who you're listening to. By the way, I have no hair. I've been bald for a long time. So you probably don't want to take hair advice from me. You think? I've got golden silky vocals. My audience knows this. So if you were wanting some singing advice, I'm your guy because of my golden silky vocals. But, you know, someone like my cousin who always hates on me, Queen, who, you know, she is not blessed with that gift, you probably don't want to take singing lessons from her. Okay. I'm happy, Queen. I'm just pumped up. We got folks, they're up 14 times their money. I'm excited.
Okay. That's okay. I'll get you back. I'll get you back.
All right, let's go on. All right, let's take a look at how powerful the space is, because it's not just Bitcoin. There are over 1,200 now of these, probably a lot more than that, but 1,200 that we know of are of these digital currencies, and more are popping up every single day. Back in April of this year, April 30th, from April the 30th to May the 10th, so what are you talking, 10, 11 days? You just had this major explosion. BTC is the trading symbol for Bitcoin. Just like in the stock market, you've got trading symbols for Microsoft and for Walmart and what have you. You've got trading symbols for these various assets. So Bitcoin, BTC was up 34% in a 10, 11-day period. Now, I used to sell mutual funds from 94 to 99. Our top fund that we marketed was up, average like 18% a year. Which means your money would double about every 40 years, which is really good in the mutual fund space. To get a 34% return in 10, 11 days is unheard of in the mutual fund space. And if you had a mutual fund manager that got you 34% for the year, not for 10 or 11 days, they would be on the cover of every major magazine there is dealing in the financial world. This happens all the time in the digi space. Ripple, XRP was up 238%. Stellar Lumens, I never heard of Stellar Lumens until I really started to put my focus in this space a few months back in, I think it was April, is when we told our audience, hey, we've got to really start paying attention to this digi space. Bitcoin was going for $1,250 a coin then. It's over 7,000 now, April of this year. Yeah, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, okay? Stellar Lumens was up 10 days, 11 days, 489%. What does that mean? That your money would have grown by 4.89 times, almost 5 times. $100 would have made almost $500. $1,000 would have made almost $5,000. And if you're up about 14 times, like some of our folks are that participated in an initial coin offering, ICO, your $100 is worth about $1,400 in profit. $1,000 is worth about $14,000 in profit. All right, so what's our roadmap? Number one, got to get some DG education. Got to learn a few things. How do I take my cash money, my fiat money, and buy Bitcoin or some of these other coins? And then when I'm making some profits, how do I take it from Bitcoin back to cash? So you got to learn some of those things. We'll teach you that kind of stuff. Number two, best way for you to become a Digi millionaire. This has got nothing to do with marketing or recruiting or sponsoring or any of that good stuff. Now, in time, you might want to learn that stuff because that will just accelerate your journey to getting there, developing your own coin portfolio that you own and control. So since the beginning, when we came on the webinar and we were playing the music and intermittently we would come in, we've been talking about, hey, some of our folks are up 14 times. Because of an ICO, an initial coin offering. That's because they are developing a coin portfolio that they own and that they control. 3, you want to participate in auto digi profit systems. These are systems that allow you to start generating digi profits in as little as 24 hours from the time you engage in those systems. And these are going to be systems that's going to ultimately provide you some cash flow and a budget a monthly budget for building your coin portfolio, and even a monthly budget for marketing. In time, we're going to get you into marketing, okay? Even if you struggle at it right now, even if you suck at it right now, it's not that you suck at it, it's because you haven't been taught right, and you haven't had the right tools, and you haven't had enough traffic, okay? If you're trying to build something online and you're only doing it through your Facebook contacts, that's not enough eyeballs for you to build anything long-term, stable, and large, okay? We're going to help you out there. We won't talk much about that on tonight. I want to show you, if you never told a soul, how things can work for you in this space. Now, there's going to be a number of credible offers. There's going to be a number of offers that are going to come. Not all of them will be credible, and sometimes we're not going to know which ones aren't. We're going to do our best to vet them, and there's going to be some that are going to disappoint us. That's just called business. That's how business works. That's how investments work. A lot of times you'll strike out more than you will hit home runs. But when you hit a home run and you're up 14 times your money, that does away with a lot of the ones that didn't quite work out. So when we've identified something that we believe to be credible, we're going to share that with you. That's going to allow you to diversify within this space, because we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. All right, so now let me show you that the best way for you to become a Digi millionaire is for you to have a coin portfolio that you own and you control. So let's do this. Excuse me. We're going to go to a site called coinmarketcap.com. Coinmarketcap.com. All right, and we're going to see Bitcoin right here. And we can see that right now, let me refresh the screen. It's been a while since I've boy, I don't know if you paid attention. Tell you what, I've got this one up over here. Look, I want you to see this. This was right before we got on the webinar. I went to CoinMarketCap right before we got on the webinar, and Bitcoin was going for 71.27.26. I just refreshed the screen over here, and Bitcoin is now going for 72.44. It's up over $100 since we started the webinar. That happens all the time. We were on a webinar. We were on a trading lab 3 weeks ago or so, hour-and-a-half webinar. And Bitcoin moved in our favor, going up some $400 in an hour and a half. It was going for about 5,400. By the time we got off the webinar, it was going for 5,900. That was about 3 weeks ago. It was going for 5,900, and look at where it is right now. Now, I want to show you something real quickly, and I'm going to prove that the best way for you and I to become Digi millionaires is to have a coin portfolio that we own and control. All right, so here is the prevailing pricing on Bitcoin. It's 72.44.78. I'm going to put in that prevailing pricing. Now, on CoinMarketCap, I'm going to bring up another tab here. You can also go back under Tools. So this is something you can do on your own. Under Tools and then under Historical Snapshots, you can go back in time. And you can go back all the way since CoinMarketCap has been around since 2013. Okay. Now, what we are going to do here is we're going to go about a year ago. So today is November the 7th. We're going to look at November in 2016. All right. All right. So November the 7th is today's date, 2017. Let's go back and look at November the 6th. We're going to click here, and we're going to be able to see what the price was of Bitcoin a year ago. So the prevailing price right now is 72.44. The price a year ago was 710. All right. So now, let's assume that you bought 8 Bitcoin this time last year for 710.43, and it's going for 72.44.78 now. All right. How do we figure out what your profitability would be? Well, we simply take the prevailing price, subtract out what you could have purchased it for back then, 710.43, and you come up with the difference is your profit, or what could have been your profit. $6,500 a coin. Okay. Now you're going to divide your profit, or what could have been your profit, by your purchase price, or what could have been your purchase price. Obviously, we're using this as a scenario here. Okay. So 710.43, and you're going to come up with this answer here. Now, what you've got to do is you've got to move your decimal 2 places to the right, and that tells you what your ROI, return on investment, rate of return happens to be. And you see here, this is 9.19 or 919%. In a year's time, the stock market is at all-time highs. And since the trough of 2008, the market is up roughly 300%. And in the last 12 months, Bitcoin itself is up 919%. And yet there are smart people, wealthy people like that executive over at JP Morgan that would have you to believe that Bitcoin is a scam. By the way, those folks that are in that ICO, someone just texted me and said, hey, we're at $15.11 right now. Congratulations. I'll talk to you in our next impromptu webinar on what my game plan is with that, because I think she's going to go quite a bit higher. 919%. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that you would have made 9 times your money. So if you had just $100 sitting in Bitcoin this time last year, your $100 would be 9 times more in profit. All right, your $100 would have made 919 bucks. What would your $100 have made you sitting in a certificate of depreciation called a CD? I'm sorry, certificate of deposit called a CD. Not much. What if you had just $1,000 sitting in Bitcoin and you weren't trading it and looking at charts? You just bought it and forgot about it, walked away. You came back today, and your $1,000 would be worth $9,197. Now, let me prove to you that the best way for you to become a DIGI millionaire is to have a portfolio that you own and control. So we do this once a month. The first time I did it was in the middle of the month, so we tend to do it in the middle of the month. One day we're going to actually do this at the beginning of the month, okay? And what we do is we go back and we do that calculation, and we do it times like 20 different assets, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, so on and so forth. Okay, so the last time we did this, this is absolutely crazy, all right, was on October the 17th. On October the 17th, what, just a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe, Bitcoin was going for $5,600 a coin. Now it's over 7,000, okay? The year previous, it was going for $640. We did the same calculation. At that time, Bitcoin was up 780%. So, had you had $1,000 in Bitcoin, your $1,000 would have made profit $77.9740. Impressive, but there are other assets that are whipping the catootie. That would be the backside of Bitcoin, far outperforming Bitcoin, like Ethereum, that was about $12 back in October of 2016, was $320 when we did the last calculation, 2,581% return in a year's time, ladies and gentlemen. Your $1,000 would have made 25,810 bucks. Ripple, your $1,000 would have made you $28,700. Litecoin, your $1,000 would have more than double, almost doubled Bitcoin's performance, 14,500. Dash, 26,000, a 2,600% return. Look at NIM, one of my favorite assets, up 5,300%. It was 0.4 of a penny back in October. Last time we did this, it was going for just 21 cents. For 21 cents. But it was up 5,300% in a 12-month time frame. $1,000. If you just had $1,000 just in NIM, your $1,000 would have profited $53,000. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you how impactful this is. You take this asset, Americoin. She was at 65% for 12 months. Now, all of a sudden, 65% is disappointing. If I was talking to you about mutual funds, back from 94 to 99, and I was able to show you my fund that had averaged 65%. I didn't have one that averaged 65%, but let's say that it did 65% the previous year. Oh my gosh, that would have sold like hotcakes. And in the Bitcoin space, a 65% return is downright disappointing. I participated in another ICO, not the one that was 14 times. And we closed some of our position today, and I'll tell you in our trading lab why we closed our position today. And we closed the position at about a doubling of our money in about 6 weeks, and it was a little disappointing. You doubled your money in 6 weeks, and you got your head hung down. You got to listen to Pharrell and sing the happy song. Oh my gosh, we ain't never, I know that's horrible English. We ain't never seen nothing like this before. If you had taken $1,000 times each of those 20 assets at the end of 12 months, your $1,000 times those assets would now be worth $293,000. 20 grand would have become $293,000. 20 grand would have become $293,000. You might have said, well, I didn't have 20 grand. Well, shave off a zero. If you had $2,000, maybe $100 times those 20 assets, your $2,000 would have made $29,000. Now, my job is to ultimately get you to the point where you have a monthly coin portfolio budget, $200 a month, just to build your coin portfolio, $500 a month, just to build your coin portfolio, $1,000 a month, just to build your coin portfolio. And oh, by the way, you're putting money in your pocket too. When you're at that point where you got $1,000 a month as a coin portfolio budget, you better believe me, you're putting some money in your pocket too, probably a couple thousand to your family's budget. But I want to get you to $2,000 and $5,000. So when we have a discussion about a particular asset, whether it's an asset that's already in the market or maybe something like an ICO, that you can participate in that without it coming from your family's budget. The best way, and let me tell you how we're going to assist you, is you're going to, if you're a guest with us, you're going to get back to the person that referred you. This is the first part of this webinar. We're going to go into the second part in just a moment because I want to show you how to potentially have profits in as little as 24 hours and leverage our flagship system, which is absolutely kick katootie. It is kick butt. But your best way to become a DIGI millionaire is for you to have your own coin portfolio budget. Now, what we do is we've got a system. You can take a test drive for just $1 for 7 days. Come into our system. Let us prove ourselves to you. Once a week on Thursday nights, we actually have a webinar just set aside for helping you to build your coin portfolio. Now, we've been focusing over the past few weeks on ICO plays. We won't always just focus on ICO plays, but that's and a particular niche in the ICO market, initial coin offering, because that's where we're seeing some explosive returns. We did an ICO, 97 cents is what we got in at. It went up to 25 bucks. We peeled off a little bit of profits, kept most of it. It got up to $97. And we finally took some profits, big profit taking at 88. From 97 cents to $88, that took 6 weeks. Now, we've never seen that before in that short period of time, okay? 6 weeks, 8,972%, meaning 89.72 times our money. $100 would have made 8,972 bucks. $1,000 would have made 89,720 bucks. The best way is for you to have your own coin portfolio. All right. Now, let's go into part 2 of this training. Okay. We anticipate average person, it may take 3 to 5 years. That's our target to get you to DIGI millionaire status. And obviously, you want some things happening for you and your family well before 3 to 5 years from now. So what we're going to do as we transition into part 2 of this webinar, which I told you is going to be about a 75-minute webinar, is we want to talk about how we're going to get you to building a meaningful monthly cash flow. So you're actually impacting your family's budget, how you're going to have a monthly coin portfolio budget, so that every month you have a certain amount that is just set aside so that you can build your coin portfolio. That's the best way for you to become a Digi millionaire. And then ultimately having a monthly marketing budget, because that's going to accelerate your path. All right, so to do so, I want to go back to coinmarketcap.com. Back in late May, we are on CoinMarketCap and we were doing some research and we came across a particular asset called BitConnect. Okay, and let's just left click right here, and you can see that the prevailing price of BitConnect is $276.04. By the way, hint hint, for those of you that are already with us, you're going to see that BitConnect follows very closely, does outperform, has far outperformed Bitcoin. But typically when Bitcoin is down, BitConnect is down. And when Bitcoin is up, BitConnect is up. Very simple play. If Bitcoin is down, and I think that Bitcoin might be getting to a point where she's going to turn around. You hear the lyrical miracle there. She's down, she's going to turn around. And if BitConnect is down and we think that Bitcoin's going to turn around, guess what else might just perhaps turn around? At least that's what we've seen. BitConnect. All right, so here we go. We were researching this asset, all right, because it was on CoinMarketCap and it was one of the top coins out there. And we notice right now it's going for $276.04. Prevailing price $276.04. Okay. And we come down here and we click on historical data. You'll learn how to do this if you're a newbie, so don't worry about all these clicks right now. What I want to do is I want to see what BitConnect was going for when it first hit CoinMarketCap. What was it going for when it first hit CoinMarketCap? It was going for just 16 cents when? Back on January the 20th. We're not even talking about a full 10 months ago. Okay. Let's do the numbers on this. If it's going for $276 now, prevailing price, and it was going for only 16 cents back then, your profit would have been $275 on a 16-cent investment. We got to move our decimal 2 points to the right. That is 169,000%. That's so big. I don't know if you can see that. 1699. Let me see what my calculator says. 1695. Sorry. .92. Well, we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right, so we're going to get rid of the decimals, and now we have to put a comma here. 169,000 times. If all you had done was bought BitConnect coin, held onto it through the ebbs and flows of the market, you'd be up 169,000 times. Now, what does that mean? It means you would be up, your money would have grown by a factor of 1,695 times. So $100 just in the coin, ladies and gentlemen, would have been $169,000. $100. Remember, I told you if you had $100 in Bitcoin back 7 years ago, you'd be worth $200 million. Okay, $100 would be worth $169,000 in profit 10 months later. What about 1,000? Almost $1.7 million. I told you we were going to show you a believable path to you becoming a Digi millionaire. Who sees a believable path? If you see a believable path, open up your questions box and put a DM, Digi millionaires. Put a DM. I see it. DM. My gosh. Wow. Now, there are no shortage of YouTube idiots out there saying BitConnect is a scam. Queen Twitter, who did the introduction, she just came back. My very dear buddy, James Harris, Sheila, out of Canada. They just came back um, um, from Thailand, where BitConnect had a big shindig, their annual shindig. I was slated to go um, for some personal reasons. Could not, wasn't prudent for us to make those travels for some family health reasons. By the way, my wife is doing um, immensely well. All right, some of you know she was in the hospital a few weeks ago, but she's doing immensely well. They gave, Queen can tell you when she comes on, they gave away like all these, like the Lamborghini and the Ferrari and all this other stuff and what have you. So in any event, let me tell you a little bit about BitConnect because it has a unique selling proposition. What you can do with BitConnect is they will start it so that people like you and me, average folks, could get into this space and start generating daily returns. And it's a win-win situation. They win big, we win big. So this is how this happens. All right. So we can get started and we can lend our assets to them. We would take our US dollars, turn it into Bitcoin, and then send it into their system and then convert that to their coin, BitConnect coin, and then lend them their own coin. They would then take that, they would trade their own coin, as well as they have, they say, a trading bot where maybe they're trading other coins out there, maybe participating in other ICOs. I mean, shoot, if you could get into an ICO, if I can get into an ICO, you think they can get into an ICO? And they could probably get into it with much bigger funds, right? And so if they did an ICO and they were 10 times the ICO, but they got $1 million in it, oh, you see? So we lend our assets to them, and they pay us a daily variable interest. There are 4 tiers of lending, $100 to $1,000. So we're not talking about a monthly subscription here. You know, if all you've got is $100, get started with $100. You would get a variable interest rate every single day. Sometimes it's really high, sometimes it's low, but a variable interest rate for 299 days. And at the end of that time frame, you get your $100 to $1,000 back. So it's pure profit. $1,010 to a $5,000 lend. Listen, if you're going to lend $1,000, add $10 to it so that you can get the extra bonus. You get extra bonus interest of 0.10% daily. No matter what your variable rate is, you get this extra guaranteed bonus rate. And then your capital is released after 239 days. That's 8 months. Okay. And here was a CD saying, hey, give us your money for a couple of years. We'll give you like 1 and something % a year. 5,000, 10,000 to 10,000, 5,010 to 10,000. Don't lend 5,000. Add the extra 10 because now you get the extra bump and your capital period is only 179 days. 10,010 to 100,000 is your grand poobah in this particular system, 0.25%, and your capital is back in 120 days. We did our first $10,010 lend back in sometime in June, and sure enough, a couple weeks ago, our lend time frame was up. We had gotten interest on every single day for that 120-day period. And then our $10,000, $10,010, I think it was $10,210 to be exact, was sitting in our wallet. We could have withdrawn it, but we got kind of addicted to getting a daily payout, whether we do a webinar or not, whether we do any marketing or not. We know that, we're going to get at least 0.25% a day based on that particular lend. Okay. All right. So let me show you how this works. Okay. Somebody's really excited because now they're telling me that they're giving me play-by-play analysis of the ICO that they're in. They said it's up to $15.35 now. All right, so let me show you this. Okay. By the way, CoinMarketCap. This time last week on CoinMarketCap, BitConnect was one of the top 7 assets on the board, and CoinMarketCap just changed how they report Okay, so on CoinMarketCap right now, BitConnect is going to look like it's further down. It's the price that we need to really pay attention to. So CoinMarketCap, which is a totally separate site, they can do whatever they want to do in terms of how they report. Here are the real numbers. The real numbers is that right now BitConnect has a market cap of $2.2 billion. So if CoinMarketCap had not changed how it reports, let's see where BitConnect would be on their site. $2.2 billion. It would be fighting with Dash, and Dash is one of the biggest of these assets out there. Okay. All right, so let me show you how this works real quickly, and then Queen's going to get the spreadsheet ready for us. All right, so what's going to happen is when you lend to the system, you're going to get a variable interest rate, and that variable interest rate depends on the volatility in the markets. When the markets are moving quite a bit, up or down, we're going to get very good payouts. When the markets don't hardly move, we're not going to hardly earn anything that particular day. Okay, so let me show you, for instance, you'll see as we scroll down, all right, you had really good movements, 4% for the day. Bitcoin price went up by 4%, went up by 2%. But then on the 5th, and these are 2 days in arrears, all right, meaning what we earn, what the markets did on this day will be reflected 2 days from this point, okay? Market hardly moved, so we didn't make any variable interest rate. But we might have gotten, depending on our lending tiers, we might have gotten our bonus interest, all right? So, excuse me, we can even look, there's even a real-time interest chart here where you can see, well, based on the real-time interest chart, if things were to close out now, we would earn 1.05% in a couple days from now. Now, this just refreshed, so we've got a little while before we'll know what the interest rate will be in a couple days. But you can see here, 1.35% a few days ago, 0.87%, 0.97%, nothing on the 7th, 1.57% today. Now, keep in mind, they're in
Remember, we want to have a second webinar.
Oh, okay. All right. So here we go. Real quick. Last 6 months, $100, 299 days. Calculate your $100 with the average interest that we've seen over the last 6 months would make $287. So at the end of the 6 months, at the end of the 10 months, your $100 would be worth $387. And we're not even including any compounding. Queen's going to show us compounding in a few moments. If we did the $1,010 tier, where you've got about 8 months, you're going to notice this little bonus interest is going to calculate right there. So your $1,010 in about 8 months would make you profit $2,558 thereabout, given the average interest rate that we've been seeing. Okay, your $5,010 for 179 would make you 10,000 in about 6 months, and your 10,000, $10. We've got some folks that they had the resources to do this, and now they just treat this as an income. 21,000 in 4 months.
Change it to 120 days.
Excuse me. Thank you. All right, and this is what I mean by some people just say, hey, I get to this point, this is an income, because in 30 days, now your capital would be on hold for 120, but if you just looked at what might this average over a 30-day period, $3,600 a month. So real quickly then, Queen, how about you go on and take the, lyrical miracle's about to happen. Queen, how about you go on and take the screen? The hip hop mogul strikes again. Now, what Queen is going to do? I'm sorry.
Do you like that view?
Yeah, that's beautiful. What's that from there?
That was from my hotel room.
Oh, are you serious?
while I was in Thailand.
Oh, look at you. Just rub my face in it. Why don't you?
Well, hey, what can I say?
That's, that's why I'm gonna talk junk about you. The fact that you can't sing like
Well,
I
hey,
can.
you were talking junk earlier, so I can rub some stuff in
Yeah.
your face.
Don't get mad at me because
I'm not mad at you, because
don't get mad at me because
I
you get
haven't been
to.
on here trying to share my vocals. Okay. So, but anyway, this is my view from the hotel in Thailand. I just thought I'd share that real quick.
Cool. Hey Gary, that makes a whole lot of sense, buddy. Good for you. Good for you taking that initiative to do that. All right, so 100. I'm going to shut up so we don't have feedback. You go on, Queen. And will you contrast that also with?
Yes, I will.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm shutting up.
Give me a moment. I didn't do.
Now, so while Queen is waiting for a moment, here's the deal. Okay, so the whole idea is to leverage BitConnect, and there'll be others that will leverage too, but to leverage BitConnect so that we get to a point that you can start a withdrawal strategy. Now, you big boys and big girls, I can't tell you what to do. I can't give you financial advice, but let me give you an idea. For instance, once you get to the point where you do a withdrawal strategy, we like a 50-50 withdrawal strategy, meaning whatever you make that week, day, month, or what have you, you withdraw 50% of it out. Once you get to that point, most people need to compound for a little while. All right. You withdraw 50% out. All right. And then the 50% that you withdraw out, you slice that in half and you take half of that and that goes immediately to your family's budget. So if you withdraw out, let's say $2,000, okay, $1,000 goes to your family's budget. Now, this is just all ideas. You big boys, big girls, you know, take this, adjust it to your lifestyle. You withdraw out 2,000, $1,000 goes to your family's budget. The other $1,000 gets split in half. 500, half of it going to your coin portfolio budget, 500, half going to marketing, so that you can start to build a team of folks that are also leveraging BitConnect and other systems that will leverage. Because when they do that, you start earning commissions, and that helps to seriously fast forward your results. Okay, Queen, it's yours.
Okay, if you take $100, as you saw earlier, and you invest, you lend BitConnect $100. They hold it for 299 days, but you get paid interest daily, variable interest daily. And so if you just the estimate, you earn like 0.9% a day on average. And that 299 days, if you reinvest it, every time you received an interest, $10, you turned around and reinvested it. Then at the end of that period, 299 days, you will have on deposit, see it growing, see it growing, see it growing. 299 days later, you will have $1,370. There approximately.
And what was it if you didn't compound?
I'm going to, yeah. And if you did that, if you 100 and you didn't
Do 6 months.
Yeah. Oh no, it's 299 days.
No, do the 6 month calculator as opposed to 30 days.
Oh. Oh. Okay. So if you didn't compound it, like every time you earn $10, you put it back in, you would earn in profit $287. And of course, you would still have your $100 on deposit, and they would give that back to you. And then you could actually turn around and reinvest it and start this all over again. Well, if you just follow this strategy, you would have on deposit $1,370. And of course, it'd be your last day and they would give you back 100. But if you turn around and put it back in, then of course on day 300, you would then start it all over again. I mean, with the 100, but then you would be still reinvesting. So Doc, in let's say 365 days,
Give it a year. Okay.
365 days, just redepositing, not taking anything out, you would have on deposit $2,480.
Now that would take some time if all you did was 100. But if you don't have a lot of resources and you've not referred anyone or what have you, one of the things you may want to consider is, okay, treat it like it was a mutual fund. I did 100 this month, and if I've got some extra money, let me do an extra 100 next month just to get there quicker. But this required no recruiting, this required no sponsoring, this required no marketing. Now, do we ultimately want to get into the whole marketing piece and so that we can refer others and what have you? Yes, we want to get there because it's going to fast forward your results. Queen, let's look at the $1,010 mark. I like this one because if a person can start off with $1,010 on an average day, they're able to compound because all you need is $10 in your what they call your lending wallet for you to relend that $10, which gives you the compounding effect. Go on, Queen.
Every single day. And so you're growing your balance. And now it's on deposit for 239 days. So if you decide that you want to take that for your first 239 days, not take out anything and just redeposit, compound it on a daily basis, at the end of 239 days, you will have on deposit.
Ooh.
If you did nothing but redeposit everything that you earn, you would have approximately $10,740.
But hey, Queen,
yes.
Yeah, look at the daily earnings at that point, though.
Well, yes.
Wow.
The daily earnings would be $100 plus a day.
$3,000 a month.
At any point you can start taking money out. And if you decided that you liked that earnings, you didn't have to do anything but just redeposit once they gave you once you get back your original deposit. You can either subtract it out or redeposit it. So on day 240, you would have $10,840, or you'd have $9,830. Either way, you're still getting approximately $100 a day. That's an income for most people.
What would your $1,000 sitting in the bank getting 1% a year do? Not much.
Yeah, and we're only talking 239 days. That's 8 months. But a year with $1,000 in the bank, you might get 10 cents.
Hey, I'm curious, since you just said that, I know this is 8 months. I'm curious what would 365 look like. I'm just curious.
Oh, with just redepositing everything, 365? Oh, it would be very pretty.
Excuse me.
365.
Oh, hey, what's 376 a day? That takes us over 10 grand a month? Does that take us over 10 grand?
Times 30. $11,280.
Okay, so let's stay there for just a moment. All right. Now, and I'm not saying that you're going to compound for a full year. I'm just look at this number. All right. So if you were at the point where you're generating just from your interest, 11,280, and let's say, okay, now I want to initiate a withdrawal strategy, and I want to do what that bald head dude talked about. So Queen, let's cut this in half, divide that by 2. All right. So in this example, you would have withdrawn out for the month $5,640. The other $5,640 stayed in the system, so that allows you to continue to grow that asset base. So it's always growing. So that month after month, or week after week, or day after day, however you decide to withdraw funds, you're withdrawing more funds a week from now or a month from now than you did the previous week or the previous month, assuming the same type of interest rate. Now you take the 5640 and you slice that in half. And you say, okay, this is what's going to my family's budget, 2820. All right, so now you are maybe paying off some debt, accelerating some debt, so you free up even more cash flow. If you're working a second job, maybe you're coming off the second job, maybe you're contributing more to your retirement, 401ks and all that other good stuff. Got some other stuff going on. You're dating your spouse, you're taking a nicer vacation. But the other 2820 in this example, let's split that in half. And let's say that you now have a coin portfolio budget of $1,410 a month. So maybe there's an ICO play that we're looking at. Maybe there's just maybe you're just letting it, grow in Bitcoin or Ethereum or some of these other coins out there. All right. Remember when I showed you $1,000 in these 20 assets over 12 months would have ultimately grown to 293,000. You could be. I don't know what your resources are. If you had $1,010, you could be a year away with no recruiting, no commissions. You could be a year away from having a $1,400 a month coin portfolio budget, and a year away at that point from being able to do what we just talked about on that chart. And nobody can take that away from you. That's yours. That's yours. And then $1,410 a month in marketing. If you have $1,410 in advertising, getting people to a good quality marketing system like what we are developing for you, you're going to have people join you. They're going to participate, and you're going to earn commissions when that happens. All right, Queen, I'll shut up because we got to hurry up.
Yeah. All right. So if you move on to $5,010, and just remember the numbers that Doc showed you earlier on the 1,000. How much you would earn, 2,000 and some odd dollars in 239 days. That's just the earnings. But if you compound it, see what happens. Now, 5,000, what happens when you compound it? Okay, you start off with 5,000 in 179 days. That's 6 months, less than 6 months actually. You will turn that, if you just compounded everything you earn, you would turn that 5,000 into 35,000.
Wow.
That's if you compound it. Now, nobody's saying compound it, but 6 months, how much time is that out of your life?
Not much.
Okay. I'm just saying. So if you compounded it, this is what it could look like. And then let's go ahead to the 10,000. Now the 10,000 is 120 days, compounding it for 120 days, 4 months. If you had the wherewithal to do the 10 and you decided to compound it, where would you be? In 120 days, 4 months.
Hey, Quinn, I want you to do me a favor because
yes.
this actually happened. All right. So we did an ICO.
Okay.
We kicked butt on it. I mean, it far exceeded our expectations. And we took some profits. And when we took some profits, one of the things we decided to do with some of the profits was to lend it to BitConnect. Now, I won't say exactly what the amount was, but let's say it was at least $10,010. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And and my wife was in agreement with this. We decided that we were going to compound that for 8 months. So 2 cycles of 120 days. I'm just curious. What does that mean?
240 days.
240 days. Oh. And that 1769, could you give me an idea what that means monthly?
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, I know that one of our folks, now I don't know if they're going to compound for 8 months, but I know one of the things they're looking to do, because they're 14 times, they got quite a few of the coins in this last ICO, and I know they're talking about doing a lend, all right, whether it's all BitConnect or maybe between BitConnect and another system, what have you. And is that a month?
Yes, Doc. That's 1 month.
Ooh. Hey, cowboy, you see that? Cowboy, you see that? Cowboy, you could be a few months away. Maybe he's not ready to do 8 months, Queen. Well, take him to 4 months, 120. Where were we at 120?
Oh,
Cowboy.
39,000. 39,000.
Wow. Hey, Gary, real quickly, how many cycles? Gary's got quite a few folks on the webinar, and he wanted you to do the 10,010. Or am I answering that now, Gary?
Let's
Okay.
go with the one cycle for whoever you were talking to earlier. The 39,000. It would
Just
give
so
you 400. It would give you $452 a day.
that's up there still.
Okay.
Okay, so once again, now, now let me tell you, this is the power. You're going to take a $1 test drive of our system being our CRB DIGI Millionaire system, because the ICO that some of our members just got into with their 14 times their money, they likely wouldn't have heard about it had they not been a part of our system. Okay? Likely wouldn't have heard about it had they not been a part of our system. Or maybe they would have heard about it, but they might have watched some YouTube videos where somebody said, "It's a scam, it's a scam." And one of the things that we do is we educate our audience. Notice, yeah, we like to have fun. I haven't given you my golden silky vocals tonight. I have given you a little lyrical miracleness, so I am the hip hop mogul sensation, the DJ I'm a sucker MC, Queen. Remember that?
No, I don't quite remember that one,
You
but
don't,
anyway.
you don't remember the sucker MCs?
No.
Come on, Queen. Look, so what do you listen to? You don't listen to my good old country music. You don't listen to my hip. Oh my
Was
God.
he saying hip hop? I never did do hip hop.
Get cultured. Get
I
around
am
LK's finger.
cultured.
Get around LK so LK can culture you. Anyway, I
Uh,
don't even know what I was saying.
I know, right?
I don't even
That's
know what I was saying. All right.
all right.
So
So
here's the
did
deal.
somebody want to know how many cycles or what would happen in so many cycles? More than the one or two cycles?
Uh, I think they wanted to at least see the one cycle, and then we also showed the two cycles is what my wife and I are doing on, and that came from profits.
If you go to 3 cycles, you're still under a year.
Yeah, yeah. And somebody's asking, what do we mean by cycle? Gary, that period of time that your funds are on are committed. So when you do a $10,010 lend, you're 120 days. I'm calling that a cycle. The fact that your capital is committed for that 120-day period. So I'm saying, okay, that's cycle one, basically 4 months. A second cycle is basically 8 months. And if all we did, for instance, was compound during that period. All right. So for what my wife and I are doing, because we've got some big plans in the middle part of next year, and we want BitConnect to pay for it. And so we said, okay, we got some profits. Let's do an additional lend. Let's let that portion of our portfolio just compound. And then in 8 months, we'll start our withdrawal strategy. What is that?
3 cycles
On the 10?
on 10.
Queen, you can't show them that. They're not ready, Queen.
Are you sure? I mean, I'm ready.
Yeah. Gary, does that scare you, Gary? Nah, that's gonna scare some people, Queen.
If it does, I'm sorry, but it don't scare me. I like that number.
It's gonna scare some people. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to jump to the other webinar. You know what, Queen? I was going to stay here, but my concern is the webinar
No.
systems. Huh? All right, so we need to jump to the other webinar. All
You
right.
need to, yeah.
All right, so here's what we need to do. Those of you that are already with us, let's talk. Those of you who are not with us just yet, meaning that you are not part of CRB DG Millionaires, you need to get back to the person that referred you. You need to ask them for the CRB DG Millionaire link. You're going to take a test drive for 7 days, And when they send you to the page, there's going to be two videos on that page. One, the first video is about 8 minutes. The second video is the most important. It's a 2-minute video. If you don't watch that video, you're not going to set up your site properly. And then you're going to get frustrated, and then we're going to get frustrated, and we're going to all be frustrated. All right, let's not do that. Watch that video so that you set up your system properly, okay? And so maybe you get a chance to do this really quickly to get on our trading lab. It's an impromptu one. We don't normally do one on Tuesday night, but I want to share some very important information with our audience. If you're not in the system by that time, because it's only for our paid audience, we will record it, and you'll be able to watch it tomorrow, or probably will. It may not get posted to tomorrow afternoon, to be honest with you, but tomorrow late afternoon or in the evening, or Thursday or what have you. We will still have a Thursday night trading lab. I just need to cover some things very quickly. Those of you that are in CRB Digi Millionaires, you probably have gotten the link that the system sent to you to remind you. And if not, if you go in on the calendar and you go in on Thursdays,